Hello! Today I've got another more non-wearable makeup tutorial for you. I just felt like doing something with like glitter and bright colors, and yeah. This is what it turned into, sort of a flower look, so let's get started. For my face makeup routine you can click the link somewhere up there, and yeah, for my eyes I started out with the Maybelline Color Tattoo in the shade Crème Rose. Very rare, yeah. Pretty much what I do each and every time, and this time I actually only put it on my eyelid and a little bit in the crease, not all that far, because it's mostly going to be, you know, face paint instead of eyeshadow. But for the eyeshadow that I did use, I used this sleek palette, and specifically started out with this yellow shade over here. It's the IDivine Ultra Matte Volume 1 palette, by the way, but I'll just link, or not link, I'll write everything down below in the description box. And yeah, I just layer this on my eyelid like I really wanted it to be bright yellow. Like if you want to be even brighter you could use a white base, but this looked more like a flower core to me, so yeah. And then I used an angled brush and this dark green shade over here to define the crease. And I didn't really use a lot of green, I really only wanted the shade there, so I really focused on getting it dark. And not yet necessarily on blending it out very far. I'm going to blend it later, but for now I just really want to get it in the right spot, and yeah, just get it nice and dark, and of course somewhat even with the other eye. And then I'm just using a fluffy blending brush to blend it all, and if it's not completely even, don't worry, it's not really going to show up anyways. As you can see on this eye I actually blocked out half my eyebrow, so that's where the flower is going to be. So it's going to be asymmetrical anyways. And yeah, just use a little bit more green, like a paler shade of green, to make the blending on the other eye a little bit easier. Then I used a little eyeliner eyebrow brush with a dark blue shade. I'm not sure what sort of brush it's supposed to be, it doesn't say so on the brush, but I'm just using it on my eyebrows now. And on the side where the flower is going to be, I obviously only fill out the part of my eyebrow that I haven't blocked out. And the other eyebrow is just going to be complete. The only difference with how I usually do my eyebrows is that I made them a little bit thinner this time. But, you know, not much. It's pretty much just the same thing as I always do, but then in blue. And then I just comb them up a little bit. Then with the same shade of blue I moved on to these two brushes, a stippling brush and the blending brush again, for shaping. It's quite a task really to get a big brush in a small eyeshadow pan, but it worked. At least it came on a part of the brush. And yeah, I just started out by shaping my cheekbones. And really blended it upwards quite far, because I wasn't exactly going to add blush on top of this. And then my jawline. And then for my nose I used the smaller brush simply because I don't really want to like have a completely blue nose on accident. Yep. And the key with this is really to start with a little bit. You can always build up the color, but it's, you know, it's easier to build up the color than to take it away if you apply too much. And I also put some on my neck, where, yeah, the faces I pull while doing that aren't very charming, but you know, it just sort of pulls everything together. And then I used a white eye pencil on my waterline. And then it's time for the most fun part, at least in my opinion, which is the face paint. I'm using this Kryolan palette and I'm using pink and purple and green and obviously water to make them usable. And I've done this all with an eyeshadow brush, the eyeliner brush by Sigma. So I pretty much just started out with a purple eyeliner around my entire eye, and for some reason whenever I do a sort of fantasy look I always want the tear duct area to be pointy. I don't know, it just seems very fantasy-like to me for some reason. So I also did it this time. Do be careful underneath your lower lash line, because you don't want stains there. And yeah, I just made sort of a subtle wing at the end. And then made the first flower petal. I just made them quite an easy shape. And with a rather thick border, just so it's nice and visible. And then I pretty much just added 4 more leaves. I've always heard that for like with the rules of decoration you should always have an even number, so I figured I'd stick with it and do an uneven number of petals. And again, underneath the eyes, do be careful to not get stains. And then it looks like that. Then on the other eye I did the exact same eyeliner, but only there I did, you know, just a complete flower at the end of the wing. Rather than the whole flower petal thing, because I did want to do flowers on both eyes, but I did want it to be different on both sides. And then I just completely filled it in. Just take your time while doing this, because, you know, it's face paint, you can't exactly erase it very easily. And then randomly decided I needed another flower petal. And then I started filling it in. I used pink face paint for that because, I don't know, it just seemed more fun than by filling it in with purple. Especially on the part where my eyebrow is underneath a heap of modeling wax. I just basically shoved modeling wax on it and then, you know, foundation and powder and the rest of my makeup. But yeah, I just stuffed a whole lot of that on there to make sure that it's like completely covered, or at least as complete as possible. Then filled everything else in, and then I didn't really want to do realistic petals or realistic leaves on the flowers. But I did want something green around them, so I did swirls because, well, really just as with the pointy tear duct area, swirls just seem really fantasy-like to me. So I decided to just do swirls. There's not really any theory behind this, there's just, you know, swirls on random spots. And then I used a very cheap hair gel and a very cheap glitter for the glitter parts. Hair gel is actually a very good way to add glitter to your face. So I just carefully applied that on the face paint with a Q-tip. It didn't shove the face paint out of place or anything, so that's really good. Still, do be careful with it. And then one very important thing is to not put it directly underneath the eye, because it will crease. At least I didn't try, but there's a huge chance I think that it will crease, so I didn't want to risk it. And then I just use an eyeshadow brush to carefully apply glitter on top of all of that. And just carefully shove it around a little bit with the brush, so this covers nicely. Like, I didn't want it to cover completely, obviously, but it just seemed fun to have like purple glitters on the pink. You could use pink glitter, but yeah, I think purple just sort of pulled it together with the borders of it. Then I used liquid latex and flat pack pearls, also for my budget store. You could use, if you don't have liquid latex, you could use eyelash glue for this. I feel like liquid latex is just slightly more sticky. So, in my experience, it holds stuff onto my face better. Although, don't use it for actual eyelashes, because you will accidentally wax off your actual eyelashes if you try that, probably. Because it really is a lot stronger than eyelash glue. But for this sort of stuff, it works perfectly. And again, I just added them in random spots. On the other eye, I actually used a big pearl as the center of the flower there. Surprisingly enough, it didn't even feel uncomfortable to have it there. It's like directly after the crease of my eye ends, so that helps. And there I also put some random pearls around it. I really like how they're shiny, but still not as sparkly as rhinestones. I think that would have distracted from the face paint, so that's why I chose these. Then for eyelashes I use these purple and black lashes that I got off eBay and Peggy Sage eyelash glue. They're a nightmare to apply. And then I used the Catrice Glamour Doll mascara to darken up the eyelashes that aren't covered by the fake lashes. Then for my lips I used a Essence eye pencil and a Makeup Revolution lipstick. Yeah, I'll just list them down below in the description box, as I said before. And I managed to do most of that off screen for some reason, but you know, it ended up on my lips. That's just, yeah. And that's the final look. So yeah, it's not exactly wearable, but I do actually really like it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye! One in a huge bottle. And I love spraying it on the brush and then dipping it in eyeshadow and applying it on some eyelid. As you can see, it just gets way more intense and shiny that way.